everyone, I hope you're alright. Well, it's a windy Tuesday afternoon, but it's incredibly bright. I've just had to rescue one of the empty buckets that have been trailing along the front there. Well, I have a finished item to show you. Finished insofar as I ran out of yarn. Not finished as in the proper finished. If I have the map, I can show you the picture. Not the map, the pattern. A pattern is a sort of map though, isn't it? Okay, this To The Point shawl, which is where it's called, it's by Sherry McEwen. Or Cherry McEwen. I don't know whether it's a sh or ch. In my case, for Cheryl, it's sh. Although some people do call me Cheryl. I hate that. Don't ever call me Cheryl. Anyway, I had to increase because I realised I was using the wrong weight yarn. The pattern says worsted. I used, it was a very light DK, and I realised it was going to be tiny, so I continued with the increases. I could see in the pattern where I could increase. I think if I did 2 fewer rows of the increase, I might have actually been able to finish it off. Am I allowed to show you this? It's on your picture. The solid bit terminates into one single, it's not a single crochet, it's a double crochet, but a single point. Mine doesn't quite do that. I mean, nevertheless, I mean, and you've seen it, those of you who've seen it on Facebook and maybe Google Plus as well, it still looks very pretty. There's nothing wrong with it, and the untrained eye who'd never done that pattern probably wouldn't even notice. But that's basically what it's like. So you can see it doesn't terminate exactly into a single double crochet. It's, I think it's 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 9 where it ends. I'm looking at this one here. But it's fine, and it feels, because of the yarn and the wool content, and it feels really warm, and it is a nice size, as you might have seen me model in the photo. So it is a lovely size. It needs washing like, but and it is lovely. But if I were to make it again, I would do a few in this kind of yarn, because I've got 2 green balls of this as well. I'm not sure whether I'm going to make that with it, I don't know, but if I did, I would make fewer increases. And yes, it would probably use the same 2 balls of yarn, but let's see. Anyway, I did actually try and source this yarn again on the internet, but I think it's been discontinued. It's King Cole Mirage. I think it was a while ago that they had it out. But never mind, it's okay. It's fine as it is, it looks fine, and I'm happy. Right, 10 stitch blanket. I will insert a picture here. So as you can see, the 10 stitch blanket is growing and it's coming on well, and I'm really happy with that. And I began another project. You will not believe where I started. I do these sudden deviations in projects, and I am still doing my Christmas shawl project, which is like various shawls for various Christmas presents, and I won't say who any of the recipients are. 1, because I don't know yet, I haven't decided, and 2, I want to show you guys, but without spoiling it for the recipients who may see the videos, who may not, and if they do, then they won't know they're going to get it until they open it. So that's the idea. My sneakiness, I'm terrible at it. Right, the project that I suddenly about turned and started doing came about by accident, but there's a couple of backgrounds to the story. I'll show you it so far. Sorry, that's just the spare. It's the starting of a sock, and it's on DPNs. That's where the background story comes into it, the original background story. So isn't that amazing? And yes, these are my new DPNs that came today, and I'll tell you about that as well. There's the active needle. And by the way, I do prefer working with 4 there rather than 3. I had to do 3 temporarily because one split. I'll get there. I will. Right. The background of all this started with, it was earlier on in the year. I'm not sure how early. It might be summerish or, but on the start to summer, it was Barry Gibson. I have to blame somebody, don't I? No, actually, he introduced us in one of his videos to the 9-inch higher circular needle, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I voiced my interest as well in a car vlog that I did. And within a day or two of doing that, I bought some. I bought 2 pairs, a 2.5mm and a 3mm, and only because I didn't know which size. That's the problem with fixed circulars or fixed needles, or just normal straight needles. Whereas interchangeables, you can swap what you need. So I got those, not really knowing what size I would need, and I put them to one side because I was either doing it at that moment in time or starting to do 2 at a time to up socks. I was really determined to do that, and I wasn't really happy with the result, how the cuff ended. So I thought, well, next time I attempt to make socks, I'm going to do a cuff down, and if there is a join in the toe, then nobody's ever going to see it because it's going to be inside a shoe. There's always a reason for everything, isn't there? And then I watched with fascination Pam Chatfield's journey of DPNs, and I took on board some of the things she was saying. So wooden ones, so the stitches don't slide too easily on the needle and risk sliding off, because that was a big concern of mine. Like me, she expressed that she prefers to work with 4 in the project and 1 active, rather than the other way around. And I thought, well, if I buy a set of 5 DPNs rather than a set of 4, then I've got a choice. Whereas if I buy a set of 4, I've only got one option of how I'm going to work that. So I took on board that. I took on board the size, because she said something about the really small ones. In the end, I bought these carbonised wooden DPNs. They came in a big set of range of different sizes. These are the 2.25s, and as you can see, there are only. Can you see there are only 4 in there? Believe me, there were only 4 in there. There were 5, but one of them I was working with it and it just splintered. But I was always very conscious of how delicate they felt. But I was pleasantly surprised of how easy knitting with DPNs actually is. I didn't think I would be. All that negative fear was to do with cabling and having a straight cable needle and having it fall out the stitches all the time. And I just thought, I'm never going to use DPNs. I mean, in the end, what I did with my cable needle, I bought a hooked one, so I don't have that problem anymore. But it did put me off DPNs. So I took on a lot of what Pam said. She even showed me these tubes, so I bought some in readiness. All this I was collecting all over the time, and when the time was right, I'm going to make a sock. Now, this is the second background, how I came to make a sock. And, oh, sorry, that's a box. Oh, I'll show you what's in that box in a minute. The sock came about last Monday. I was at work, and the main base of work is at the Learning Support Centre in a special needs school, and there's a lot of equipment in there and toys for special needs children. And the children who go to the school, them and the parents become members automatically for free. But you can buy an external membership, and you can try out this equipment to see if it's suitable, and you can buy it, that sort of thing. Anyway, there's this toy, and it's a dog. And it's a beautiful dog, and you could cuddle it. But it's battery operated, it's got a sock in its mouth, and you pull the sock and it growls. It wants the sock, not you. But it's a cute growl, you know. I suppose it depends on the child as to whether they like it or not. But anyway, it came back and the sock was in a disgusting state. And I'm thinking of hindsight now, this wasn't a very good idea, and I don't think my team leader thought about it, and I didn't think about when I agreed. But she said, I know you can knit, but maybe you could sew a sock. there's the assumption there. But if you don't mind, I went, oh yeah, sure, without thinking. That moment I agreed to do that, that hobby became a job, and I shouldn't have taken that home. I should have done it at work, if that was what was needed. And I really thought I could like do it a sock on. I've got a sewing machine, but then if my son asked me to take up some trousers for him, I would do it by hand. I'm not really that good on the sewing machine. I can do 2 bits of material together, but anything that requires a pattern, I would need to go get some lessons. I just don't know. So I brought this home thinking I would just be able to draw around a template or get a template online and just do this. And then I started thinking, I've got my Addy there, my big one. I've got Topevi there. I've got things there. I would have to move everything off there, get the sewing machine out. Oh, I can't be bothered. So right up until Thursday morning, I was actually going to do that until I was walking to Knit and Natter from the car, and I thought, why don't I knit a miniature sock? So before the other ladies started to arrive, I was on my phone, Google, free miniature sock pattern, and I found one. I thought, if I do a variegated sock, it'll hide any little mistakes. Crafty, yeah, and it's, you know, it's for a toy, it doesn't really matter. I got home and read, it said on the side, DPNs. I went, oh yeah, I'll just practice on them. I've never done it before. This is a perfect opportunity to practice, and I loved it. But I picked up the wrong yarn. I was intending to use King Cole Splash, which is a very DK, which you might have seen before. I've done an Addy hat in it and a scarf, which I've finished off yet, I need the tassels. I picked up the lowest needle I could possibly use for a DK weight, which is 3.5mm, I thought, in my opinion. But the yarn I picked up was actually Magic Aran from Pound Stretcher, which is actually an Aran weight. So this sock ended up a little bit bigger than intended. However, it's not the end of the world. It wasn't one. I mean, the suggested use of this miniature sock pattern was for a keyring. It was too big for that, and I never intended it for that anyway. But the sock was absolutely fantastic, and I don't have it now because I put it on the dog and I took it back to work. However, I do have a couple of pictures. So I am so incredibly proud of myself. One, for actually making a sock which actually looked fine. When I worked it up, it was fine, no holes or anything like that. And two, for the fact that I worked on DPNs. I was so incredibly proud of myself. I really felt motivated to start on a sock. And I intended fish lips kiss heel. I want an ankle sock because I don't wear knee lengths. I haven't worn knee lengths since I was like 6. No, a bit older than that, but yeah, definitely before the age of 11. I think from the age of 11 it was ankle socks the rest of the time. So I'm going to do that. But I thought, how many stitches do I cast on? I couldn't consult with any of my books because they're all taupe. So that's no good. I was looking at patterns but getting confused because it would just give like, say, 3 categories, small, medium and large. And I'm thinking, well, how do I know exactly what's going to fit? And so something said shoe size, which you translate from, say, US to UK. Well, that's hard for me. What shoe size are you? Sometimes I'm a 6, sometimes I'm a 7. It just depends on the shoe. So anyway, I asked advice from Pam and Sarah Hepworth, because Sarah's done loads of socks this year. She's the sock lady. And she's the one who actually said 2.25. She works on 2.25mm needles. I thought, oh, okay then. Yeah, okay, I'll try and find my gauge, and I got some advice from Pam Chatfield as well. And so I settled on 2.25. I hope I got the right amount of stitches. I think my gauge is okay. And then that's when one of the DPNs splintered. So I ordered some more, and I really went to town on it, didn't I? Oh, we just have to, don't we? So to replace these vulnerable ones, I call them vulnerable because they are very weak, I couldn't decide. I thought, I'm not going to replace them with these and risk them breaking again. I'm going to get some nice needles, and I got a bit for. I went to town, didn't I? First of all, I did actually get some more of these, 2.25 and 2.75 to fill in the gap with the others. So that's to go with my 2.5 and my 3. I couldn't decide wooden or metal, because I went for Knit Pro. And also the size. I was confused. These are a 5-inch, which was like 13 centimetres approximately. But then I was getting like 10 centimetres, 15 centimetres. Which one do I go for? And which should I go for, wooden or metal? So I thought, okay, I'll get one size of wooden and the other size of metal. So that's what I've done. So I've got the wooden in the smallest one, which I think that's 4 inches. That's 10 centimetres. That's what it looks like there. And 15 centimetres in the Novas. It's funny because like I started with these just to try them out, because I have to try them all out. So I worked the sock off this onto these, and I did a round. I thought, yeah, that feels lovely. Oh, the difference in those needles compared to them, they feel solid even though they're thin. The thin ones, 2.25. And I thought, oh, let's try this one now. So I knitted them off there onto one of these, and I thought, it feels a bit tight. I think it's because if I'm going to start a sock, I'll start it in that. I've developed muscle memory for this now, so I'll keep on the DPNs for this, and maybe a different sock I'll just do that and then see what it's like. And then I worked it off that one, the circular, onto a metal, because I just want to see the difference in size between the wooden and the wood metal. And slidiness, well, you can see it doesn't slide off. It's actually okay. There's a stitch marker there. It's actually not right at the end, it's about 2 stitches in, so I still know that's the beginning. And it seems to be going okay, but I'm really worried about whether it'll fit. But we'll see. But it's a nice yarn, isn't it? It's King Cole Zigzag for socks. And it's nice to knit with. Just have to do it very slowly. Well, not very slowly. I'm actually faster than I thought, but I'm not in a race. But I'm surprised at how well it's turning out, and I feel really, really happy that I've stumbled across DPNs just because of a dog. So yes, I'm very happy about that. Oh, and I alluded to a box, didn't I? So I better show you that. I'm a member of a few Facebook groups, and you know, you like business pages and stuff like that. Well, there's this place not far from us called Devon Sun Yarns, and they do yarn boxes which are very similar to, I think it's called Yarn Box actually, but that's in the US, isn't it? It's hand-dyed yarn, and basically you can get a subscription, and I think she has a waiting list of people doing like maybe 3-month subscription or a 6-month subscription. I think you have to go on a waiting list for it. But then I think she must have either had a cancellation or something, or maybe there was just one left, or something like that, or a couple left. And she said, up for grabs as a one-off. Not a subscription, but just a purchase. I thought, oh, okay, why not? I might as well, just to see what it's like. And I got 2 hanks. I'm going to have to use my ball winder. I don't have a Swift though, so I'm going to use the arms of this chair. I've done it before, don't worry. I've got 2 hanks of this gorgeous yarn. It smells lovely. It's got, it is, it's 50% alpaca and 50% extra fine merino marl. It's 100 grams, 400 meters, and it feels beautiful. And it smells, oh, I love the smell. So there's 2 of them. So I can see another shawl happening. A crochet shawl, of course. There they are. I think it's 3 of them, and they look like leaves. Actually, you could wear them in your ears as earrings, couldn't you? One's gone inside the other one. Just have to manoeuvre it about a bit. There we go. That's 2 of them, the other one's in the pack. It's like a leaf. Isn't that really beautiful? They're all the same colour, because this looks like amber. Oh yeah, they're all the same colour. Oh no, it's green. I think a green one. Yeah, and they're both amber, like colours, like yellow amber. So it came with that, and it also came with something I was baffled about, but I thought it must have been something because it was pretty perfect. It's 2 centimetres cubed. It's a cube, and I measured it. It is 2 centimetres, and I thought, what's that for? It's a cedar block apparently, and it's a moth repellent. I had no idea. Of course I have to sniff that, but of course I've got this smell on it as well. But I can detect something else. How lovely is that? So, yeah, that was as a surprise. I don't know if I would keep up with a subscription, but it's nice to do once in a while, isn't it? I'm terrible for buying yarn. Are you? Right, so I think that's all my news. It is, yeah. Just you watch this sock grow. I hope it works out well and I hope it fits. Ugh. I'm really nervous. But it's looking so good and I'm really enjoying it, and maybe in a few rows I'll switch back to the wooden ones. I don't know whether I do want to switch back to the wooden ones. I don't know, I can't decide whether I like this size 50mm or the 10mm. We'll see. Anyway, I'm really happy, and I'm happy that this actually does go in this tubular thing, so you can carry your project. I like that. That's a really good idea. Alright, thank you for joining me this week. I will see you next week, hopefully with the beginnings of another shawl. Take care everyone, have a good weekend. Bye bye.